Headspaces? It's your brother from the ancient mother, VJ, with my Mendoza voice. Blame it on the booze. We work nonetheless. Headspace, Asiegi, no matter what. So bear with me. New segment alert. Okay, this shit is terrible. New segment alert. Phula-Phula. So Phula-Phula is a segment where we break down some of the most incredible lyrics in the history of South African rap music. And it's a double entendre. Because go Phula-Phula for my Xhosa speakers. You're listening, but also it sounds like break. So that's what we're doing. We're dissecting some of the most profound bits and pieces of poetry and bars that MCs in this country have ever given us. The first contender, undoubtedly, one of the most important songs in the cultural landscape of SA hip-hop, dropped in 2003 from their album African Raw Material. Cashless Society gave us a kick in the door of rough, rugged, Wu-Tang-esque posse cut raps filled with science, spirituality, Jersey street slang, instinct, and just some good old SA nigga mentality. First verse is the classic opener by one of this country's most fearsome and feared lyricists, Snaz the Dictator, who's been dictating niggas in battles and bars and lyrics from time immemorial. I grew up on this nigga's lyrics. I don't know if that's a reflection of how young I am or how old he is, or maybe both. But anyways, Snaz D opens it up with a verse that is very controversial. I've heard some niggas say it's hogwash, it's confusing. He says a whole lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. I'm here to say, Utethi kaka. This verse is one of the most incredible pieces of poetic art that has ever been done. So anyway, let's go into it. Snaz D cuts it in. He says, electronic cloud support for remote control sound. Now I want to break down that first line. Hottentot Hop is a song about understanding your future through understanding your past. It's a flashback and a flash forward at the same time. It says, by understanding our indigenous history and our roots, only then will we be able to walk confidently towards any kind of future. And future in the sci-fi sense. These niggas really go into it. I mean, they paint an image which could really be called Afrofuturistic. That's just a big word, which means they imagine a future in which black people inhabit the world with advanced intellectual technology. Because a lot of times, let's be honest, Kaniboli sci-fi movies ain't no black people in there. And if they're there, they're kind of half alien, or if they're not, they're still poor. The future is very white. Whether we're talking about Terminator, whether we're talking about Back to the Future, whatever sci-fi movie you like from the 90s or the early 2000s, chances are it depicts a future where kugcwele amabhulu. The reason this song is so important is because it projects a future that is black. It's not back to the future, it's black to the future. Snaz D kicks it in, he blacks it to the future, and he opens it up by saying electronic cloud support for remote control sound guards. Now if you understand what each of those words mean, what is an electronic cloud support for these remote control sound guards? He's talking about television and its insidious influence in our minds and how the clout of celebrities gains access to our attention. But check this out, this was written in 2003. Today, clout has such a powerful meaning in the social media context. Isn't it bananas that you can say electronic cloud support and it could apply to TikTok, Facebook, to Twitter? Are we not in the age of the remote control sound guards? Elon Musk, I don't know. Second line. Quicksand with a Walkman using God's memory card. Digital accents for CD language. Now first and foremost, this is called allusion and reference. This guy is giving us words that in and of themselves depict a future. You're thinking Khoisan with a Walkman. So he's trying to spark imagery. You think Khoisan, you think indigenous man or woman walking in the deserts. You think Walkman, you think a piece of technology. Snaz, through this verse, is bringing together both of those worlds. He's saying, can we inhabit the wilderness and still be technologically advanced? Walkmans are outdated, so maybe nowadays it would be Khoisan with SoundCloud. Anyways, this verse is dated in a way, but it kind of ironically reveals how in his depiction of the future he got a lot of things right. Because isn't the Khoisan with the Walkman using Hertz memory cards a reflection of what we become? How we went from living simple lives where we simply were centered around our ancestral animistic worship, and now we wear Nike Dickies and have fancy little smartphones. Aren't we the Khoisans with the Walkman who are using Hertz memory cards and have developed digital accents? We speak in the language of social media. We speak in the fashion of technology. Snaz is being metaphorical here, people. Next line.
Perceptions managed by a modern day savage.
I'll let you figure that one out, because as a reference, it alludes to a lot of things. These modern day savages are, for me, capitalist usurpers. It's the hierarchy, it's the machine, it's the man who manages our perceptions. What Snaz is really saying here is get your mind out of the matrix. Boost. Next line.
Eating food for thought processes of elimination. Real-time rhymes versus artificial insemination.
I love that line. Real-time rhymes versus artificial insemination. The real from the fake, the authentic from the synthetic. Snaz is saying, are we able to tell the difference in this age of technology between the people who are real and the people who are purely chasing clout? Next line.
Visions in DVD, technological landscape.
Our ideas of this world have been depicted in the form of the technologies we use. Our visions are clearly in DVD. Nowadays our visions are in something a little bit more. Our visions might be in the metaverse. But he's again alluding to this idea, using references from pieces of technology and grounding them in the way of thought. He's saying technology is using us to lure us into a certain kind of direction and a certain kind of thought pattern. What is this thought pattern? Next line.
Flocks of woo pops, microchip handshakes, Hottentot Hop, drum patterns for ritual meditation, put souls on internet, beliefs infrared.
Basically painting a scene of what looks like political diplomacy in the technological age. Elon Musk has definitely done a microchip handshake by bidding to buy Twitter. Again, this verse alluding to the power dynamics of the world that we live in and how technology buys power. Snaz D saw Silicon Valley before Silicon Valley even popped up. Snaz D saw the ushering in of what many are calling now Techno feudalism, which is killing capitalism. In a nutshell, Snaz D is a motherfucking prophet. Who else can look at their lyrics aged this well and say, God damn, that shit I wrote has really come true in ways that are deeper than something I could have not even imagined myself. He continues.
Computerized garden.
Again, this illusion of nature and technology.
Electrified trees, virtual weed, wooden condom.
You seeing that? The relationship is, can the natural blend with the artificial? Can the man be one with the machine? Is Elon Musk going to put chips in all of our heads? Neuralink? Snaz D saw it all coming. And again, he uses poetry to allude the message of the future meeting the past. I'm going in on this shit. Everyone's favorite line.
Sipping Unkomboti through a walkie-talkie.
What is he saying? Unkomboti is used as a center of ritual and communion. We pass around the calabash to communicate with each other. A walkie-talkie is a communicative device. What Snaz is really saying is that whether it's Unkomboti or walkie-talkie, when we communicate, we pass through chain messages. Anybody know broken telephone? So communication is so important. Today we live in the era of misinformation and fake news, because people pass on something which isn't true, somebody spices it up, and the next thing you know it, what you said in the beginning ends up as something completely flagrant and untrue. Snaz is alluding to the idea that our ancient customs still fit in the context of how to communicate today. You as an African can throw your bones in the era where the algorithms work. Maybe before Google, What we had was the bones. What we had was the reading of our ancestors. Maybe the original algorithm is Nyani.
With my wife electronica on a hologram through my third-eye scanner, I write laptop hieroglyphics.
Come on. He's saying he's communicating to the modern world using modern tools with an ancient mindset. So in a nutshell, these laptop hieroglyphics that he's writing, come on, you know the writings on the Egyptian walls, these ancient codes that reveal how the ancient people lived. I said ancient twice, that's cool. Revealing these codes through technological use. Deep. Last line.
Satellite appetite for a homemade image.
You sitting in your couch or wherever you are, this is for you. This is to satisfy you using technology, a microphone, a cell phone, these messages. What happens to communication? Marshall McLuhan, one of my favorite scholars, says technology is the extension of our bodies. Cars are extension of our feet. Phones are extensions of our ears. TVs are extensions of our eyes. Snaz is alluding to this. This verse in a nutshell says, flash forward to the future. What does the future mean? Will you be able to communicate your authenticity in a world where everything seems to be coming artificial? My name is VJ, the brother from the ancient mother. This is a dope fucking verse. It's aged so well. It's futuristic beyond its intent of being. It's like post-futurism. Shout out to Snaz D, the legend. MCs, if you ever want to be on this segment, you better write your asses off like this. You better perceive the modern era in a way where you're able to see this shit coming. Because it's not really that deep. It's just about paying attention. Shout out to MCs who pay attention. Shout out to bars. Shout out to lyrics. Phula-Phula episode 1. We did it. Oh my